Hi everyone, I'm here to show you a Bantu knot out on dry hair, and what I used was the Camille Rose Naturals Almond twisting butter, my favorite, some butterfly clips, some water in a spray bottle, my Denman brush. I ended up not using the comb, and then I had some bobby pins out in case the knots didn't stay, but I ended up not using those either. Then I used my hair toothbrush and some Hicks to lay down my edges. I'm starting this style on a week-old, dry, crusty twist out. My hair is still clean. It just needed to be restyled. The first thing I'm going to do is section my hair off into 4 sections like I always do. It just makes it so much easier to work with and more manageable. I'm lightly spritzing the section with water just to get it a little damp. I don't like to drench it because Bantu knots take forever to dry, especially with thicker hair. So I made my section like a medium size. I actually end up changing this to a little bit smaller and then adding a little bit more hair until I got the right size that I wanted, but it's like a medium size section. I'm adding a dime size amount of the twisting butter and a little bit more water just to get it damp. And then I'll detangle from ends to root. And with the Bantu knot, I don't start right at my scalp. I start maybe a couple inches down and twist that hair upon itself and then around into a Bantu knot. So adding product, a little bit more water and detangling, and starting the Bantu knot maybe a couple inches down by twisting that hair upon itself until I get halfway, and then I actually twist it around itself. It sounds complicated, but I will give you a closer look when I get to the front. So I'm finishing up the last knot in that section.
It's all good in the hood till the nigga get his paper good. You see the wave that we on, take a ride, you wish you could. All these roads, but you wanna take the highway. Doing you.
And I ended up having 6 to 7 knots per section.
Technicalities are back to back to back now, but it's all good. We gon' make it work. Know who you talking to.
So I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see the technique I use. You don't want to start right at your roots because you're going to end up pulling your hair out. So I like to leave about 2 or so inches before I start twisting that section. So it's just a single strand twist, twisting it between your fingers. And then when I get halfway down, I'll grab the base of the twist and wrap it around itself. Twisting some more down, wrapping it around, and continuing that pattern. You don't want to twist it too tight because again, that's going to pull your hair out, and by the time you get to the end, it's going to be so tight that it's going to be hurting by the time you're trying to wrap the end all the way around. So if you leave a little bit of slack, you won't pull your hair out, and then you'll have enough slack to actually get it tight at the ends. And that's why I ended up not having to use any bobby pins to secure these. So I'm just going to finish up my last knot. And sometimes I actually do wear these knots out. So I'll just take a little bit of the Hick's edge control on my hair toothbrush and just slick down my edges a little bit. I'm actually not going to wear these out, but if I were, this is what I would do. So I'm going to use my scarf just to tie down the edges, and then I'm going to use a bonnet for the rest of the hair. So it's the next day and it's time to take down the knots. So I'm using some argan oil on my fingertips just to reduce frizz. And I do apologize for the fogginess on my camera. I think there was something on my lens, but I didn't realize it until after the fact. So I'm just going through and untwisting those knots in the opposite direction that I twisted them in. So I twisted them to the right, but I'm unraveling them to the left. And I felt like I had really, really good definition from these Bantu knots. I have tried Bantu knots on my hair plenty of times, and it took me a while to get it to how I like it. I've tried it on wet hair, on flat iron hair, but it turns out best on dry hair, either in old style or on blow dried hair. And definitely not twisting too tight helps. And even though I didn't twist too tight, I still was left with major definition. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the argan oil to my fingertips to help me separate. And with separating, I find that it's better to kind of untwist the knot a little bit and then start separating from the ends. Then it won't be as frizzy. I don't mind a little bit of frizz. But since it's wrapped pretty tight, you want to unravel that, twist a little bit first before separating it. And I think I separated each knot into maybe like 4 sections. So I finished up separating half of my hair, and you can just tell the difference in the volume. So I'm actually done separating all of my knots, and I love the definition that I had. I just went through and kind of got rid of some of the parts with my fingertips by placing my fingers through my hair at the roots and pulling out a little bit, but not all the way through, because then it'll get frizzy. I'm just playing with it and getting it how I want it. I was gonna do bangs in the front, but I decided not to. Just give a little shake to get everything nice and popping. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.
I don't have time for the lames. I don't have time for the fakes. All I want is that K. All I do is what it takes.